competition I'm doing right now are behaving themselves today pretty well. I'm really pleased. So I have time to shape the hammers on this warm-up piano. So I'm going to take 30 minutes and do that. Whoa, I just hit my back on a thing. But I've hooked up some microphones. Hopefully we get a little better sound. I'm going to monitor this a bit. So hopefully I can give you a sample of where the piano is now here, okay? Just really bright and shrill. So just way stronger than we need right now. And also just ugly sounding. And it's because the piano's been overplayed and hasn't been voiced for a while. This piano gets put in service continually on rentals and concerts and events, things like that. So we're going to try and make it sound better like we did the other one. This morning I was shaping hammers on the piano across the hall from this. There's two warm-up pianos. And I tuned them both this morning so that if I didn't have time to shape the hammers this morning, I would be okay. And sure enough, I didn't have time to do both. So here we are. So I'm going to just pull this out. You can see the grooves in the hammers here. Pretty dark lines there. So I already know shaping the hammers is going to create a great foundation that will, first of all, it's not like some pianos where when you bring up the tone or when you shape the hammers, it brings up the tone. It's not so much that way at this point for this piano, this New York Steinway. The issue here is setting the stage where the tops of those hammers, the grooves aren't so long, aren't so deep, more consistent interaction with the strings, not choked by the sides of the grooves. Also, a smaller surface area that comes in contact with the string. So these hard shelves that gets worn, the hard shelf that gets worn on this edge, that far edge from me right now, which is the edge closest to the pianist when the action's flipped the right way. That edge gets so hard and it can make a really ugly sound. So here we go. I'm going to grab 2 new strips of paper. I could reuse the strips I used this morning. 2 pianos is fine, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go new strips so it cuts nice and fast. I'm going to save time that way. These hammers, unlike this morning, these hammers have plenty of felt on them. I think there's hope for making these sound good for quite some time, even after shaping them aggressively today. They've been cut quite a bit, okay? So we need to bite into them a bit here. Okay, so I know I've got a close-up there. I'll pull this out just a bit so you can see where I'm going in this middle section. And I'm going to use my 80 grit, and I'm just going to start pulling across the front shoulder here. These are really big hammers compared to the other piano that I was on this morning. Those were getting, first of all, they were small and just not as many options for a good tone, but it sounded really good just right after shaping, honestly. So let's hope this one does the same, right? That I don't have a ton of needling that I have to do afterwards to make it sound good. This is just during a dinner break for the competition. A couple competitors bowed out right before the competition, so it made for a longer dinner break, which is nice for me because that's my time to get work done on these things when no one's using them. And they were just unusable in here. So I want to skinny up those shoulders. And on the Steinway hammers, I do kind of more of a, I don't do such a round shape on the shoulder. It's a little more direct, kind of almost like a diamond almost. Not quite that extreme, but or like a kite. If you picture the shape of a kite, if you were to look at the side of the hammer, the profile, that's kind of what a lot of these would look like. So anyway, yeah, the competition's been going really well. Some real strong performances. Pianos have been staying in tune nicely. When I had time to touch up, I honestly didn't find a whole lot to touch up. I mean, there's always something, but it wasn't bad. I was really pleased. Part of that, and I might go into this in the later videos, I changed my technique in tuning them. Sometimes when a competition comes up like this, or some big thing, you know, where I know the piano's going to be pounded, it's going to be put to the extreme stability test. Sometimes I'll freak out and just kind of like try and change the way I tune right before. You know, not advisable, right? But I sometimes do that. I mean, now at least if I change something, it's not going to be like a train wreck, you know. But the way I was manipulating the pins and the strings, I don't think it's just a change in the weather, because we did have a big weather change the first day on Monday, but then it's kind of changed back. We had a cold front come through. Now it's warmed up again, but I don't think that's entirely to blame for the first couple of days. I think it was the way I was tuning. But also, I mean, there was, some really, really hard playing on it. And you get that with these competitions, right? They have some of these pieces that really just pound sometimes. So, competitor just played the Petrushka. Just really excellent. His tempo's just amazing, and so I hope he does well in the competition. So the way this competition's set up, I think I explained it this morning, but every competitor, they get to play an hour of music. Not at one time. They do a 20-minute, and then the next round they do a 40-minute before any elimination takes place. So it's a real chance to kind of show your versatility and what you're good at to the judges. Get people from all around the world. They did auditions, you know, in China. I forget where all else. China, Canada, Europe. So we've got people kind of from all over coming, which is really great. Most of them are in their 20s. I think there's a few that are a little older this year. You know, but just kind of launching their careers. And the past winners of this competition, you know, they usually go on to, of course, win other competitions and have a pretty successful career performing. So anyway, these hammers are way more round than is typical. And as a result of that, it's going to take a little bit longer to shape them. But I think we're still making good time here. So my goal is about 30 minutes on this. See if we can do it. I just want to steer well away of any of the competitors coming in to warm up. I got caught off guard the other day, and I didn't like that. So I can tell someone's shaped these hammers in the past, and they didn't do a super great job. Who knows? Maybe it was me, but no, I don't think so. This piano is owned by the Steinway dealership here in Salt Lake City, and like I said, they own 2 Bs and a D that they rent out for events and things, and they get a lot of use, and a lot of time they're booked solid, so there's really no time to work on them in between bookings a lot of times. So I'll get an opportunity on the D a lot more than these to kind of refine things, because usually higher end players are playing the D, and we have to, either there's a complaint, or we have to get in there and prep it a little better. So I'm cutting off the front side of this string groove. I'm just going to go ahead and do the group of them from here, because they're not very angled at this point. And you aim for consistency across the section of hammers, where the strike line's going to be the same place. Now, as these hammers wear down, okay, they're designed to where they're perpendicular to the shank is about where they're going to strike the string. I think that's the idea originally in the design. But when they wear down and the hammer gets shorter, it rotates higher before it hits the string. So the strike line actually ends up further back towards me on the hammer. Now I can kind of do that. I think I kind of do that automatically, because I'm taking away the grooves symmetrically, more or less, from the front and back. Anyway, let me get my vacuum here, just one sec. Gotta plug that in. Now I'm going to work back right to left on that section, the same section I just did. Some felt cuts differently. This felt is a little more, I don't know, fluffy, soft. It kind of, it's not as dry and hardened with lacquer as the other set was. When it is, the shaping goes very fast. But also the tone might not be as good in that case. So I'll take the better tone if I had to choose. Okay, now I'm going to go on the back side, back shoulder of these. Put these down so I don't accidentally hit them. Yeah, so during the break, the way it works out with the pianos that are being used, there's 2 stage pianos, a Hamburg and a New York. And just the order of things, they select the order of the competitors just at random. They do a drawing for their order, and then they select which piano they want. And so it's kind of you never know what you're going to get as far as how often we're going to have to switch pianos out. But today, as it works out, I mean, the New York piano hasn't been used as much today, although about half and half chose the New York and the Hamburg in this case. And I think it's because they were both prepped and voiced pretty similarly. There are differences for sure, but the technician from Steinway who got sent with the pianos to prep them initially, that's kind of the way he likes to voice them. And he said he had to work on the Hamburg piano because when it came in, he thought it was going to be unusable because it had been needled a lot on the top of the hammers, he said, and it was just had no tone. It was too weak, way too weak. So he kind of stressed over that, and he shaped the hammers and worked on it that way, and it came up. And I think it's just fine. I mean, it's not the biggest sounding piano in the world, but it sounds great for this. It's not a huge hall that we do this competition in. Okay, so If I were to just kind of follow the shape of these hammers and not pull these shoulders in, it would look like I was erasing the string cuts or making them shorter, but then as soon as you started playing on it, they wouldn't be that much shorter in reality. And I want to reduce the surface contact area between the hammer and the strings. So then if I need to needle from this point, it only takes like one poke or so, and I've changed the tone dramatically, which is what I need in some cases to, to be able to voice quickly and in a stable way. So I didn't have any time to work on these pianos. No one asked me specifically to work on them before this competition. I think they just figured they were just going to send them out. But I saw what condition they were in, and I asked the dealer if they'd pay me to make them better because they needed to be voiced again. And they said, oh, yes, definitely. We want that done. So that's why we're kind of scrambling after things have already gotten underway. But I mean, it mostly, from what I understand, the pianists, I've never participated in piano competitions, and so not knowing what that's like, from what I understand, pianists tell me they're just trying to get nerves out, just play their nerves out, do memory checks, things like that. And so they don't really care as much what the warm-up piano sounds like. Except I have had complaints that I've heard before of if they've said, oh, the piano's too loud for that room, I'm not going to use it, I've heard that as a complaint before, which these would definitely fall under that category. Okay, and that was Sergei Babian that mentioned that. It was in another performance venue, and I asked him if he wanted me to tune the warm-up piano and get it ready. He said, oh, I'm not going to use that one. It's too loud for that small room. I said, okay. And here we have bees in a small, kind of a live acoustic dressing room here that they're warming up in today. So it's kind of a similar situation. Definitely a lid-closed opportunity, Okay. So I do strive to get the profile of the hammer symmetrical, and so that's why you'll see me checking the sides of it every once in a while. But it's happening. So also when we reduce the area that the string contacts on the hammer, it reduces it can reduce the overall volume of the piano and kind of rein it in a little bit from getting really monstrous. So, if you're going to have your hammers filed, you can voice them either way. I could harden the hammers if I needed to after this. I can needle them. If you have a New York Steinway, you can go either way on that. Other pianos won't have the same effect. Like if I shape the hammers on a Yamaha or Kawai or something like that, or a Hamburg Steinway, it should be a lot brighter when I'm done. But I don't want that to happen with this piano, and I don't think it will. I think the reduction of surface area will be enough to kind of subdue this piano to make it sound prettier and more usable and even. Okay. All right. Kind of overdid it on that one. All right, there we go. Vacuum that. Going to make sure there's no serious errors in the chat or anything. Is there a proper way to pound on a piano? Yeah, I think there's a proper way, but I don't think it's difficult. I think a child could do it. Kids don't have the same reservations. You notice a little kid can make quite a sound out of a piano. I don't think it hurts it at all. It's impressive. And then as adults, we get this inhibition, and all of a sudden, then you get people not making enough sound when it's called for. It's really interesting in the competition, if you've watched any of it. Some pianists are able to bring out just a big array of colors from the piano. And it's not just pounding or brute force. It's just the way they play it, and they're more attentive, I think, to the dynamic, what's the word? Dynamic range, and the timbral range, and just all the different colors and textures they can make. So some make the piano sound really good. Others, it sounds kind of flat. And I don't mean in pitch, but just in color and in interest in the piece. And I think this competition, there's a big array of big variety of different levels of talent and mastery, it seems, as I've listened to the competitors. And some will surprise you. Some you don't think, or don't catch your attention, and then if they get a chance to play their next pieces, they can really jump out. Maybe they just had a bad day or whatever. I don't know, but so I'm seeing today a lot more. Maybe they're less nervous too today. I don't know, because they've already gone through one round, but it's sounding really great for the most part. Okay, so now this is 150 grit, and now I'm going to just comb over the tops of these and cut those grooves down to where we don't have a deep groove. But I don't want to go deeper than where the hammer's already worn to. I want to leave just a shadow, a ghost of a string cut there, so that it doesn't affect so much the timing of the hammer hitting all three strings at once. Hopefully we don't mess that up, because frankly I don't have time today to make the hammers to the strings. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow morning. We'll see. Just because I can, and they're willing to pay me to do it, so it'll make this piano better, going forward when maybe they're put more in the limelight and not so much in a back warm-up piano roll. Okay, so I think you can see where I'm headed with this. And I don't know, last time I tried this mic setup, I didn't check the levels, and someone had talked about one of my streams was quieter than normal. And so I kicked up the output a bunch, and I think that was a mistake. It was all overdriven so I don't know if it's my internet connection or if it was just because I had those output levels kicked up so high. But hopefully this is better today. But I was just mortified hearing the stream, watching my stream and listening to it after the fact, and realizing, it just sounds terrible. And I want so bad for you to be able to hear the piano tone as I hear it, as I'm working on it. Because I think that's where, we'll learn things here. And just gonna slender these up a bit on the shoulder. Okay, let's see if that's any better. Okay. Okay. Sometimes my hammers will end up a little rounder, like a lopsided belly on the back side. Just depends. I don't do that on purpose. but I don't think it's detrimental either with what I'm going for to the sound or anything. But I'll go ahead and slim these up a little bit. There, that's a little more symmetrical when I go that direction. I didn't use this technique on the back side. I went down, shoe shining on the other set. But when I do this, I can control more the shape of that back slope. Again, not as critical. The critical thing is where the felt meets the strings, okay? People will fuss a lot over the shape and I think that's dumb. I don't think it helps that much or changes things that much. I shouldn't say dumb. It's just misguided effort, I feel like. Okay. Okay. Now with this hammer shaping method is a game changer if you've never come across it before in terms of time it takes and how good of a job you can do with, I'm talking with these strips and being able to go through. You can preserve the angle of the hammers if you want. You don't have to sacrifice that. It's faster and more consistent than a paddle for most people. Obviously, if someone's used the paddle to the point where they just like live and breathe the paddle, then they'll do just fine, I don't want that up. Whoops. I mostly move the hammers up and down just to get out of the way of my hand strokes, okay? Okay. All right. That's going well. Now, I want to kind of comb over the backs of this like so to cheat a little bit and make that straight. Not doing much, just a little bit here. Those angled hammers especially. Okay, that's looking good. Okay. There, that section's done. Let's see, I'll pull you on to the next one here. Again, this is a lot like what we were doing this morning, identical, in fact. Here we have these deep grooves, and there, I haven't vacuumed this off, but that will look really nice, on the other section once they're done, okay? So that's kind of where we're headed with that. I'll back up a bit, and you can zoom in on your end if you want. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty extreme hammer shaping as far as how long and deep these grooves are. And it probably took 1/10 of the time to get here, to get to this point than what it would in a home because of the amount of usage it gets. Okay. This section's harder. It's been hardened with more lacquer, I can tell, to bring out the tone, and it was way over the top, of course, but so it cuts faster. Plus, I can do multiple hammers at once, right? So. Okay. So in case you haven't figured it out, I like to just bring you along and see what it actually looks like when we do these jobs. Nothing bores me more than sitting through a piano technical presentation where someone never touches a piano and they're just talking theory. They're talking the talk. Nothing bothers me more than that, because I've come across a lot of people that are only talking the talk and they're not capable of actually producing a sound that I think is good, or or a regulation or what have you. And so I aim to just try and just show in real life what do these tasks look like for someone who's been practicing them for a while, and what the real result is. You can actually try, hopefully, if I get my sound sorted out eventually, hopefully you can hear it well and hear what it's doing, I'll mention, if you've listened to the competition pianos at all this week, I mostly am just having to tune, and I'm mostly just worried about putting a good, perfect, stable tuning on them, that just sounds gorgeous. But occasionally I'll have to do a little voicing, evening something out if it doesn't sound as clean, like, a balanced octave or imbalanced octave. The New York piano this week has some really, really bad false beats in the high treble. And it's almost like impossible to tune and have it sound good. But I found that if I muted off the front duplex, which is the waist end of the string over here, just muted off a little bit, that cleaned up the sound a little bit and made it easier to get a true tuning on it. So that was good. Okay, now we're going to go 150 on these. I'm going to check my time. Let me just see where we're at. By the way, if my sound is just awful, don't hold back. Just tell me on the chat. Just tell me if it's just awful, or if it's okay. Okay, we're at 5:30. Okay. All right, so now I'm just doing the same thing with the 150 as I did with the 80 on the front side and shoulders here. And these hammers are so hard, it's not doing much. They were already pretty smooth. Then I just gently comb over and cut down these grooves a bit to where they're almost gone, okay? Just comb over right all the way to the back side a little bit. And this helps with consistency of tonal output. So that sounds like really nerdy to say it that way, but it just consistency of the sound. Because if you have a wall on these grooves that's really soft felt and it somehow makes contact with the string, it can kind of choke the sound or kind of mute it in some aspects. And then all of a sudden, then you have like a real mellow, not pleasing sound. And then all of a sudden it gets really bright and ugly really fast when you crescendo. So you don't want that. And that's what we're trying to eliminate here. Okay. I have to vacuum myself off just as much as anything else when I do this. Okay, I think I'm going to do the same pullover thing that I did on the other section because they're smooth. The felt is laying down really nice when I do that on this set. Sometimes you can go different ways and it'll act differently, but this way it's getting me a better shape. Yeah, I'm liking that. And it's perfectly smooth still on top. If it doesn't ruffle up on top, you can go this way or the other way. Just figure out on that felt. Some hammers are really bad, and kind of no matter what you do, you're going to get some fluffies on the top right where you don't want them, where it hits the string. So you can kind of go side to side to kind of mend that and get rid of it if you need to do that. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, hopefully you're enjoying just kind of being able to see, like, in practice, during concert work or what have you, the stuff I'm doing regularly or in the shop, what does that look like? And if there's techniques or tools that I've used that might benefit you in what you're doing in some way, or just being aware of them, that's awesome. Let's see, I'm on the top section now, and I don't think I Moved the camera to the top section, did I? Let's see if anyone said my sound is awful. Sound is good now. Last stream remarks were definitely quiet at times due to the camera. Oh, yeah, from this morning, for sure. Thanks for commenting on that. Yeah, this morning, I know when I talk, you probably couldn't hear worth beans from the camera audio, so sorry about that. But I was pressed for time. I had to just kick it out there. So hopefully stuff you couldn't hear on that one, maybe I'll mention it again on this. You want to be careful on the top. You don't want to, because this has very, very little felt. This is 80 grit paper. I got to be really careful, right? Yes, it's cut down there, but on these, I just want to be extra careful. Okay, so I went really light on my pressure. This is kind of fun today, I thought, at least the stream, I'm hoping, because you can kind of hear, because I already tuned it, so you're not confusing, oh, well, what improvement is because of tuning and what is because of shaping the hammers. Hopefully it kind of isolates the changes in the tone that shaping the hammers is going to create on these pianos, and you can kind of say, oh, that's how it was different. Okay. Okay, on to the 150. Again, these hammers are so hard up here, it doesn't take much. They're already pretty smooth. So mostly just gonna now roll over the tops. Go really light on the top 8 or so. And then once you get down here, you can breathe a little easier and just kind of take them down more. But again, on this treble, it's not a huge deal that we totally eliminate things. Like it'll still sound pretty good, even if we don't take those grooves all the way away, okay? That being said, I'm choosing to go pretty far down to where these grooves have worn. But I kind of want to go consistently across the whole section too. Okay. All right, vacuum that. Okay, then the final backside here, these, get rid of the line that's kind of formed on that edge, that top edge. Okay, magnifique. All right, now, while I'm sitting here, I'm just going to do what's to me the right corner, but which is when it's oriented correctly, it's the left corner or edge. We don't want that to have any crusty lacquer pieces that would hit the string and just zing to pieces when, you know, as you use the una corda pedal. You know, I don't like having to say una corda pedal over and over and over, and I talk about it a lot. So I like to just say shift pedal because it shifts the action over. Okay, just you can kind of feel an edge with your finger, you know, and then it smooths out just a little bit when you do this. Just kind of break off the hard edge. This is mostly with lacquered hammers, okay, that we need to do this, or hardened hammers in some way. And even though I didn't add lacquer, it exposes a harder edge than was there before usually from shaping down. So I like to do this also, and it saves a lot of headache making sure that the una corda position is going to sound close to being ready when we're done with this shaping process. These are already pretty soft. They didn't get hard, I can feel, so I'm just going to kind of quickly gloss over each one. Now we go to the base section. Okay. All right, so base section time. See if I can get that. This is a common question. How many times can you shape hammers before having to replace hammers? It doesn't have to do with how many times you shape the hammers. It has to do with how deeply the hammers have been cut by the strings. Because when we shape, we only shape to the point where it's been cut, or just barely beyond, if anything, or sometimes not even to that point. So it's really the question of how many hours the piano is played. Okay. So you could shape hammers a lot, you know, sometimes. Some pianos, I mean, just because it has grooves worn in doesn't mean it's going to sound bad. You just have to, listen to the piano, and if it is a bad sound for what you want, then you look at shaping the hammers and saying, okay, this probably needs to be done. You can't just visually say those hammers need to be shaped. You could say, oh, it'll probably make an improvement, but if you love the piano and the tone you're getting from it, don't change a thing until you have to, right? I think, especially as a technician, if you're recommending something to somebody, I think really that's got to come from them most of the time if they're not happy with the piano in some way. And you can kind of plant the seed. I mean, you could say, hey, if you're happy with the tone and the touch on this piano, great. If you wanted to make improvements, I could do something about it. That's my approach usually. These bass hammers don't have an awful shape, but they have been cut into kind of deep. So hopefully this will help that. Bring out the tone a little nicer on them. Okay, well, I think it's beyond a little beyond a half hour maybe. I don't know when I started, I didn't pay attention, but we're getting there. We'll make it in time. So I'm going to have to drop this in about 10 minutes and go tune in the other room on the stage. And I think I'll be done by then, so that's good. I think they're going to start coming in here wanting to warm up, and I can't remember when. Maybe not for 45 minutes or so. Okay, I'm going to vacuum that off. Then to go the other direction on these bass hammers, I pull up a group and span my hand over about 4 of them. That's about all I can reach and still get good control over the angle of the paper as it sands. Okay, so we're changing lines into dots here on the top of the hammer. This felt is actually on these hammers quite soft in general overall, but the overall density of it is definitely enough to power this piano up nicely. Just an observation there. I think I had more energy or something this morning. Oh no, I know what it is. This shape is just this set of hammers just doesn't cut as fast, so it's taking a little longer. But I think I've boasted before on previous streams that if you are reshaping hammers that are already worn, it goes faster than a new set. So hopefully we're proving that today. I'm not that I was intentionally trying to do that. We just had time constraints here, and this was a good opportunity to show that, demonstrate that, how it can go faster. Okay, you can guess what I'm going to do next, because I've done it on every other section. Now I'm going to pull out the 150 and just smooth and flatten the faces of these. When I say flatten, I mean making them straight across that whole edge of it, so they look nice and straight, not rounded or crooked or anything like that. Preserving the angle that they're bored at. Okay, now I'm going really close to the top, and I'm pulling straight across the section, even though they're angled. Cheating a little bit, okay? Then I'm going to pull over the top just a little bit, just right over the very top. Okay. Okay, we'll vacuum that a bit. Okay, now I still got to do the back side here a little bit, just a touch. I guess I don't have to, but I'm going to make this back edge, or the edge closest to me, a little smoother for the string, as the hammer kind of slides along the string as it hits it. Because it kind of hits it, and it kind of flexes back, it hits it, and then kind of, strokes the string a little bit as the wood straightens out and it recoils. Okay, good. I'm happy with all this. Okay. So now I'll vacuum it off. The last piano, after I shaped the hammers, the tone that I wanted for these rooms kind of just fell into our laps. We'll see if this one does the same thing or not. That'll be nice if it did. Kind of get felt dust everywhere. You gotta vacuum it off, keep it clean. The shanks, tops of the shanks got dusty, and then the hammers themselves. See, we'll back this up. For the cleaning here. If you don't do this, you'll get lots of white dust all over the piano as it gets played in initially. You'll still get a lot, but this will cut it down dramatically. Carefully, careful not to break anything, for sure. I don't have my spare parts with me today, so that would be kind of a problem. All right, we'll see what we get here. Just a moment. Okay, let's see where the tone went on this one with the hammer shaping, okay? Vacuum a little more. Base of this stretcher. Vacuum the floor. Okay. Okay, this one didn't end up as subdued as the last one for sure. So I'm going to voice a bit on it here. Tell me how the piano sound is. Let me know if it's garbage. I'm hoping it's really good. But so we're going to needle really quick and get this to sound better. Okay. Even you'll be surprised now. There's a really hard one, right? But with not very much effort, I can rein it in just right, and it's not going to kill it. Honestly, I don't think you could kill this piano. Especially in this context, right? With such a small room for such a big piano. It's kind of live acoustics. So you hear the metallic nature of that. Just going to give it one poke right on top in each of the grooves. Now it's beautiful all of a sudden. It did refine the sound quite a bit. It did subdue it, even though it's still bright. It's smaller, and not in a bad way, in a good way in this case. Because this piano needed to be smaller in a bad way. And again, when it goes on stage, I think we'll be just fine if it's put in a different place after this. But you can see how quickly I'm able to drastically change the tone color of this piano now. Had I not shaped the hammers, I would have to be chasing around with this needle, for hours. And it would come back. It wouldn't be as stable after I poked it. Just all kinds of issues and difficulties. You hear how hard that C sounds? It sounds really rock hard. Like there's no hope for it, but watch this. There's hope. Sounds way better. I can even go further than that. This one has a pretty tone, but it's just big. It's just too strong, And so we need to take that in. We don't need this. We don't need a huge treble here. It doesn't sound as good. So even in this chopped treble where there wasn't very much felt, I'm able to change the tone. I'm able to do it really quickly, actually, which is nice. Okay. You could say, why don't you just pull the action out and just needle them all real quick with like a 3-needler? But I'm able to get what I want, which is like one poke, okay? And I'm able to go a little deeper, which produces kind of a glowy sound and that I like. So there's a time and place for just wholesale needling with the 3-needler, I think, even on these New York hammers. But I don't think I need it here. It's just as faster to do what I'm doing now. And a little more refined of a sound in the end, I think, is the result. So this is just so smashingly bright here. Now I've got a monitor on my interface here, but that I kind of listened to a little bit, but it sounded clear to me there, so I don't know if it's when it's uploading, if that's getting compromised at all, if it sounds all yucky or clear. I would love to know from you. If you could let me know, that would be great. Again, with the time I have, I don't need to take this all the way up here, but I'm going to get a lot of points just for being closer from these competitors that went through this piano before. Or maybe they won't even notice. No, they better. And even if they don't, I'll know. And I'll know that this piano will be ready to go for the next thing, whatever it has to do. When you have old lacquer in hammers up in the high treble like this, it gets really hard. At that point, when things have really cured in the hammer, you can needle quite a bit without killing it. You don't have to be as afraid. It's not like a new set of hammers that has fresh, kind of softer lacquer on it. Because the lacquer does seem to get harder to me, after a year or two. Okay, now we've got more. This note's just really strong. I just need to make it less strong so it matches better and blends. It's F or E. So I've been hitting this whole row, but varying degrees of deep, depending on the sound that I'm getting from it. Like that was really strong, so I'm gonna go deeper and I'm gonna sit there a little bit, hesitate a little bit longer before I pull the needle. Or maybe I lied on that last part. Maybe just deeper is good enough. This is still way bigger a piano than needed for this room, even when it's voiced down a lot, especially in the high treble. Maybe tomorrow, if I have chance, tomorrow the next day, I'll go even further with the voicing. We can get rid of the metallic, just huge brash sound on this. It's going to sound more in tune as we rate in the voicing. That's kind of one of the results of. Just going to carry on down the set and we'll get it. Some of these have been knocked out of tune for sure. With such hard hammers, though, doesn't surprise me. These notes at the break get so strong sometimes. If you're hardening hammers, resist the urge to overdo it on these right around this break. Brighter, it comes up brighter than the others, so we'll just find a hard spot there and hit it again. The D just sounds too hard, so I'm going to go towards me a little bit, find a hard spot, plunge deep towards me off the string groove. This is my second kind of pass over this section. And that's normal, and just embrace it, you know, if you're voicing. I didn't mark these hammers yet with carbon fiber or anything. I think I can, for the most part, see where the string's hitting the hammer fine. There's a tiny little dot of a groove there. But sometimes I have to mark them to be able to voice well. These ones will be fine, though. Maybe tomorrow I'll go over the unicorn. Maybe I'll mark them tomorrow. I'll go over the unicorda. Well, I'm making all these promises for tomorrow. We'll see what kind of time there is before the competition gets underway tomorrow. that metallic sound was on the right side. On the right string on the loud dynamics. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is my second round on these hammers, I know. This note's out of tune a bit. Again, the right string. I'm going to put my needle to the right of the right string because that's the hardest part of the lacquered hammer. Still didn't get it. So I'm going to just go right on that groove wherever the hard spot is. It might be a different area on this hammer. Sweating in here with these lights. We have a much bigger dynamic range in this soft end. And it's just sounding more even. Again, if I had just poked every single one of these, yeah, I could do that, but I might have killed one. You know, beyond where I want it to go. This gives me the option of evening it out well as I go. I'm betting this will stay in tune better tomorrow if I have time to tune it again tomorrow morning. These just kind of came back hard, no problem. They'll settle down eventually here. Sometimes I have to go off the groove. If the groove, I've needled where the groove is, and it's just soft everywhere already. hammer just needs help all around. This note. This one came back. I'm not quite hitting the right spot on this. I gotta find where it's hitting actually. You can see I kind of jump back if something catches my attention. This is by far the most important area to me. Okay. Almost done. Sometimes I'll work my way in the middle and then go up there. But to me, the most work needed to be done in the high treble, so I started there. I guess that's kind of what I do. I'll find the area that needs the most work, you know, it's the brightest, strongest, whatever, and start there so I don't overdo things. A lot of these jangly sounds up here in this area will resolve, I think, if I mate the hammers. Did. Bigger hammers down here where the sound comes out really easily on the piano. They probably need more pokes that are deeper relative to the others. Sometimes I feel like my friend who taught me a lot of this, he said, it's like a sewing machine, you know, with a needle. You know, when you poke it, at first it'll seem, you know, quite mellow, usually, but then it recoils a certain amount back bright, and you just, after doing it with experience, you'll get used to how much it'll come back. Just don't be averse to just going in multiple passes needed and continuing to refine. Continuing to refine as needed there. It's so strong. Even though it sounds a lot better, I might gang. Yeah, I might need to gang needle that treble next time I can. Like I said, I think it's much better. not going to worry about the tuning in this case. Okay. All right, I think that's all the time I have to spend on this. Just a few more bass here. Here's the una corda. Some things to touch up there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. That's way better than it was. So hopefully you learned something there, or at least enjoyed watching or something. And I'm going to go tune on the stage. We'll catch you next time around. Thanks for watching. Let's see if there's any comments here. The mic has a slight buzz on anything louder than mezzo piano. Darn, I need to adjust that. Okay. Yeah, thanks for letting me know that. That's really annoying to me, but we'll figure it out. Okay, y'all. We'll see you later.